Adanne, the strong-body Odour princess no man wanted to marry. Once upon a time, in the heart of a flourishing kingdom nestled between rolling hills and flowing rivers, there was a princess named Adanne. The kingdom of Oman was known far and wide for its wealth, beauty, and peace. Its people were joyous, its lands fertile, and its rulers just. King Chima and Queen Amara, the rulers of Oman, were beloved by all, and they had only one child, Princess Adanne, the jewel of the kingdom. Adanne was a sight to behold. Her beauty was unmatched, her skin was as smooth and dark as the rich soil of the land, her eyes sparkled like the stars in the night sky, and her hair, long and thick, cascaded down her back like a waterfall of ebony silk. When she walked, it was as if the earth beneath her feet trembled in admiration, and when she smiled, even the sun seemed to shine a little brighter. But there was a problem. Adanne, for all her beauty and grace, had a body odor so strong and pungent that it sent even the bravest of warriors fleeing in despair. No one knew how or why this had come to be, for her parents were sweet-smelling and her upbringing was meticulous. The finest herbs, soaps, and perfumes from across the kingdom and beyond were brought to mask the odor, but nothing worked. The smell lingered, persistent and overpowering, turning even the most promising suitors away. As Adanne grew older, the pressure to find a husband increased. It was customary in Oman for the royal princess to marry a nobleman from a neighboring kingdom to strengthen alliances and secure peace. But, despite her many virtues, the scent that clung to Adanne was a barrier no one was willing to cross. Kings, princes, and warriors from lands far and near came to court Adanne, lured by tales of her beauty and the wealth of her kingdom. But as soon as they came close, their faces would wrinkle in discomfort, their eyes would water, and their once confident strides would falter. Some tried to endure, hoping to win her heart and her hand, but none could bear the overwhelming odor that seemed to follow her everywhere. The years passed, and Adanne remained unmarried. The people of Oman began to murmur, wondering what would become of the beloved princess. Some whispered that she was cursed, others that she was being punished by the gods for some unknown sin. Even Adanne herself began to lose hope. She spent more and more time alone, wandering the gardens of the palace, her heart heavy with loneliness. One day, as Adanne sat by the edge of the palace's sacred river, lost in thought, an old woman approached her. The woman was bent with age, her hair as white as snow, and her skin wrinkled like the bark of an ancient tree. She carried a staff of twisted wood and wore clothes made of simple, worn fabric. "Why do you weep, my child?" the old woman asked in a voice that was soft yet filled with wisdom. Adanne looked up, surprised by the woman's sudden appearance. She had not heard anyone approach and was startled by the kindness in the woman's eyes. "I weep because I am alone," Adanne replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "No man wishes to marry a princess with such a strong body odor. I am beautiful, but what does beauty matter when it is overshadowed by something so foul?" The old woman smiled gently and sat down beside Adanne. "Beauty is not only in what the eyes see, my dear," she said. "It is in the heart, in the soul, and in the deeds that one does. You are more than your appearance, more than the scent that clings to you." "But no one sees that," Adanne said, tears brimming in her eyes. "All they notice is the smell. I have tried everything, but nothing works. I fear I am cursed to be alone forever." The old woman reached out and took Adanne's hand in hers. "There is a way to rid yourself of this odor," she said softly. "But it will not be easy. You must go on a journey, a journey to find the source of your strength and the root of your scent. Adanne looked at the old woman, her heart filling with a flicker of hope. What must I do? She asked. You must travel to the Mountain of Spirits, the old woman explained. It is a long and perilous journey, and many have tried to reach its peak but failed. There, at the summit, you will find the spirit of the wind. He is the only one who can tell you the truth about your odor and how to overcome it. Adanne nodded, determination filling her heart. I will go, she said. I will do whatever it takes to free myself from this curse. The old woman smiled and patted Adanne's hand. Take this, she said, pulling a small, intricately carved wooden pendant from around her neck and placing it in Adanne's hand. This will protect you on your journey. It is a token from the spirits, a reminder that you are never truly alone. Adanne thanked the old woman and rose to her feet, her resolve strengthened. She returned to the palace and informed her parents of her decision. Though they were hesitant to let her go, fearing for her safety, they knew that this was something she had to do. They gave her their blessings and gathered provisions for her journey. Adanne set off on her quest to the Mountain of Spirits. She traveled through dense forests, across wide rivers, and over vast plains. She faced many challenges along the way, wild animals, treacherous terrain, and fierce storms. But with each step, she grew stronger, her spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. One day, as she was making her way through a dark and eerie forest, she encountered a group of bandits. They were rough men, hardened by a life of crime, and they surrounded her, blocking her path. What have we here? One of the bandits sneered, eyeing Adanne's royal attire. A lost princess, perhaps. Surely there must be something of value in those bags of yours. Adanne stood tall, her hand instinctively reaching for the pendant the old woman had given her. I am on a journey to the Mountain of Spirits, she said firmly. I have no quarrel with you. Let me pass, and I will not harm you. The bandits laughed, their leader stepping forward. A princess who thinks she can take on the likes of us. He scoffed. I don't think so. Hand over your belongings, or we'll take them by force. Adanne narrowed her eyes, feeling the power of the pendant coursing through her. You have been warned, she said softly, her voice carrying an edge of danger. The bandits lunged at her, but before they could lay a hand on her, a gust of wind surged through the forest, swirling around Adanne like a protective shield. The wind grew stronger, howling through the trees, and the bandits were thrown back, their eyes wide with fear. Leave, and do not return, Adanne commanded, her voice echoing with the power of the spirits. Terrified, the bandits scrambled to their feet and fled into the forest, disappearing into the shadows. Adanne watched them go, her heart racing, but she felt no fear. The spirits were with her, guiding and protecting her on her journey. After days of travel, Adanne finally reached the base of the Mountain of Spirits. It was a towering peak, its summit hidden by swirling clouds, and it loomed over her like a great guardian. The path up the mountain was steep and treacherous, but Adanne was determined. She began her ascent, her steps slow but steady. As she climbed higher and higher, the air grew thin, and the wind howled around her, cold and biting. But she pressed on, her mind focused on her goal. She encountered many trials along the way, rock slides, icy paths, and blinding snowstorms, but she faced them all with courage and perseverance. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Adanne reached the summit of the mountain. There, standing at the edge of the world, she saw the spirit of the wind. He was a tall, ethereal being, his form ever shifting like the wind itself. His eyes were like twin whirlwinds, deep and knowing, and his voice was the very breath of the earth. Why have you come, Adanne of Uman? The spirit of the wind asked, his voice resonating through the air. I have come to find the truth about the scent that clings to me, Adanne replied, her voice steady. I have come to rid myself of this curse so that I may live a life free of loneliness. The spirit of the wind looked at her for a long moment, his gaze piercing. The scent you carry is not a curse, Adanne, he said finally. It is a mark of your strength, a symbol of the power you possess. The odor is not meant to drive people away but to protect you from those who would harm you. It is a gift from the spirits, given to you at birth. Adanne stared at the spirit of the wind, her mind reeling. A gift, she echoed, disbelief coloring her voice. But how can something so unpleasant be a gift? Power is not always pleasant, nor is it always easy to bear, the spirit of the wind replied. You have been given great strength, Adanne, strength that you have yet to fully understand. The odor is a part of that strength, a manifestation of the protection that the spirits have granted you. It is why you have survived the trials of your journey and why the bandits fled from you in fear. But you must learn to control it, to harness its power rather than letting it control you. Adanne was silent, her thoughts swirling like the wind around her. All her life, she had believed that her odor was a curse, something to be ashamed of, something that had robbed her of love and companionship. But now, standing before the spirit of the wind, she began to see things differently. If it is truly a gift, Adanne said, her voice firm, then tell me how I can learn to control it. I do not want to live in isolation. I wish to be with my people, to serve them, and to find love as others do. The spirit of the wind nodded, his gaze softening. To control your power, Adanne, you must first accept it. Embrace who you are, not as a burden, but as a person blessed with a unique gift. Only then can you learn to command it at will. This will require great patience and understanding. Show me, Adanne pleaded. Show me how to do this. The spirit of the wind raised his hands, and suddenly, the wind around them began to swirl with more intensity. It enveloped Adanne, lifting her slightly off the ground. At first, she felt fear. Fear that she would lose control, that the odor would grow stronger and overwhelm her. But then, as she took a deep breath and focused inward, she began to understand what the spirit of the wind had said. She closed her eyes and centered her mind, letting go of the fear and shame that had weighed on her for so long. Slowly, she felt the wind within her calm, and with it, the overpowering scent that had once filled the air began to dissipate. It didn't vanish entirely. Adanne could still sense it, lingering like a faint echo, but it was now something she could control, a power she could call upon when needed. When she opened her eyes, the spirit of the wind was smiling. You have taken the first step, Adanne, he said. But remember, this is only the beginning. The path to mastery is long, but with each step, you will grow stronger. Adanne nodded, her heart filled with a newfound sense of purpose. Thank you, she said sincerely. I will not squander this gift. The spirit of the wind extended his hand, and in it appeared a small, intricately woven cloth, shimmering with the colors of the sky. Take this, Adanne, he said, handing her the cloth. This is a symbol of your connection to the spirits. Wear it close to your heart, and it will help you when you need strength. Adanne accepted the cloth with gratitude, wrapping it around her neck. She could feel its warmth immediately, a gentle reminder of the journey she had undertaken and the lessons she had learned. Now, return to your people, the spirit of the wind said. Show them the strength that lies within you, and remember, true power is not in the force you wield, but in how you choose to use it. With those words, the spirit of the wind dissolved into the air, leaving Adanne standing alone at the peak of the mountain. But she no longer felt alone. She felt the presence of the spirits around her, guiding her, and she knew that she was ready to return home. The journey back to Uman was quicker than the ascent, for Adanne was no longer burdened by doubt or fear. As she traveled, she noticed that the animals she encountered no longer fled at her approach. The air around her was still fresh and clean, and for the first time in her life, she did not feel the need to shy away from others. When Adanne finally reached the gates of Uman, the people who saw her return were stunned. She carried herself with a newfound confidence, her head held high and her eyes bright with determination. As she walked through the streets, people noticed something different about her, a subtle change, like the scent of fresh rain after a long drought. It was still her, still Adanne, but there was a grace about her that had not been there before. When she reached the palace, her parents greeted her with open arms. They had feared for her safety, but now, seeing the transformation in the daughter, they could not help but feel pride and relief. Adanne, my child, King Chima said, his voice thick with emotion. You have returned to us. And I am stronger than ever, Father, Adanne replied, embracing her parents. I have learned that the scent that once drove others away is not a curse but a gift from the spirits. Queen Amara smiled, her eyes filled with tears of joy. We always knew you were special, Adanne. But now, you have shown us just how truly remarkable you are. Word of Adanne's return and her newfound power spread quickly throughout the kingdom and beyond. Soon, suitors began to arrive at the palace once more, drawn not only by her beauty but by the strength of her spirit. But this time, Adanne was in no rush to choose. She had learned to value herself, not just for her appearance but for the strength that lay within her. Among the suitors was a young prince named Odour, who had heard of Adanne's journey and the wisdom she had gained. Unlike the others, Odour did not approach her with grand promises or displays of wealth. Instead, he sought to understand her, to learn about the woman she had become. Over time, Adanne found herself drawn to Odour. He was kind, patient, and saw her for who she truly was, an extraordinary woman with a unique gift. And as they spent time together, she discovered that he too carried a strength of his own, one that complemented her own in ways she had never imagined. Eventually, Adanne and Odour were married in a grand ceremony that was celebrated throughout the land. The people of Uman rejoiced, for they had always loved their princess, and now they saw that she had found a love that was as strong as the power she carried. As for the strong odor that had once plagued her, it became something that Adanne could control with ease. She used it sparingly, only when needed, and it served as a reminder of the journey she had undertaken and the poor strength she had gained. In time, Adanne became queen, ruling beside Odour with wisdom and compassion. Together, they led Uman into an era of peace and prosperity, their love and strength guiding the kingdom through both good times and bad times. Adanne's story became a legend, passed down through the generations as a tale of courage, self-discovery, and the power of embracing one's true self. She was remembered not just as the beautiful princess with a strong body odor, but as the queen who learned to harness her strength, finding love and purpose along the way.